All right, we are 5:30.
Yeah, I was on the finance.
So,
Updates when we stop.
we don't really need a gavel, but if I had one, I'd probably be like, hey, it's 5:30. Yeah, I can whistle, but I would.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ann.
All right, I was over here gabbing too. So, all right, so welcome, happy to see everybody. It is time to call the meeting to order. This is Thursday, today is Thursday, March 14th, 2024. It is 5:30 p.m. This is the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee meeting. We'll go around and do a roll call first, if everyone could just state their name and what committees they are on. We'll start-
Multiply planning.
You want to start with Mo? Okay,
Carl Fellowsky. Planning.
thanks, Carl. I'm Ann. I'm on this committee, the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. Ann DePetta.
Liz Weatherby, town board.
I'm Sawyer's member.
Rose Hanson, committee member.
Diane Cohen, committee member. Roxanne Marino, Conservation Sustainability Advisory Committee and Drinking Water Resource Protection Committee.
Rebecca Schneider,
Yes, yes.
can you hear me? You guys, hear
yeah.
me? Okay, Rebecca Schneider, Planning Board and Water Committee. Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Neil Stevenson, town planner.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for being here. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. So first, did everybody get to see the agenda? Did you have access to the agenda? Do we have any modifications, changes, comments? Oh, good. Okay, so we just need a
I
motion.
mean, there was there a amount? Oh, that was the minutes that
Mhm.
someone had a
It
change.
was just a
Okay.
brief suggestion.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mo.
No, second.
Thank you, Liz. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Approval of the past minutes. So again, everybody had access to the link. Everybody was able to download, everyone was able to review. We had one
One small
recommendation,
suggestion, yeah.
one small recommendation from Roxanne. Do we need to discuss that or?
Well, I mean, I can just, the reason that I'm suggesting it is because on the other committee that I'm on, the water committee, we've been like having sort of whatever we call them, action items, you know, that are sort of summarized at the end, and it's really been helpful for everybody who sort of went to that. So I just figured having like things we decided so we could look back at them. So that was the reason I suggested. And I wrote out what the suggestion was, which I could read with you.
I thought the suggestion made sense.
Any other discussion on that?
I had one other suggestion, or just a quick edit,
Go ahead, Liz.
was where we, on page 2. At the top where we talked about discussing the extension of the deadline. I think we should add what day we extended the deadline to.
Mhm.
Yeah, to be clear, if somebody goes
I
back,
think it was what? March
8th.
8th. Oh, 8th.
Yeah. so. That's all.
Good suggestion. Any other?
Oh, well, I mean, it's in the motion, but I think it should be up in actions too.
Yeah, okay. Any other comments, changes? Okay, so I guess we need a motion to approve the minutes with the small modifications that we've identified here. So moved. Thank you, Roxanne. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I abstain, I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca.
Yep, the same.
Yep.
Molly, it looks like maybe Allison's trying to get in.
I
Uh-oh.
guess we have to ask iPhone to identify itself. Do we need to wait and find out who that actually is? So whoever is just joining us, welcome on iPhone. If you could tell us who you are.
Hi, it's Allison Weaver.
Thanks. Hey, Allison. Do I need to do anything with Allison introducing herself for the nothing? Okay. Okay, So privilege of the floor, this is the time where we offer privilege of the floor, which is 3 minutes per person to present any concerns or discussion items to us. There's Michael out there. Do you have something to present to us today?
Yes, I do.
All right, awesome.
Thank you. I'll try to go faster.
Maybe you could introduce yourself so that we have that for the record, because I guess we can't see you on TV.
Michael Boggs, I'm also on the town board. You know Rebecca, so, anyway, I was at the Association of Towns last month. And, so I went through the floor and I was able to, the companies that were there that do planning, I was able to talk with them. I went back and visited all of them a couple of times, so I wanted to give this to Niels.
Okay.
And here are their cards.
Yep.
And, so there's 4 firms there. And so what I was asking about, was telling them, what was perplexing us is we have this RFP out and nobody's responded. That was at the time. I know you guys have 2 now. And so they started to open up to me and I've got these for you. So what they said was, they said that the RFP is wired. And I was like, what's that? I'd never heard that term before. And so what that meant was to all of them, it appeared as though this was an inside job. Okay, I'm not making this up. I'm just passing it along so that, and I said, well, I still don't know what wired means. And so I have a little packet for you here because I'll start to pass this out to you. So what they said is 1 year. This is some of the things that are in wired. 1 year is too short. The grant time requirements, can they be extended? Because they felt like it was too short. Were there any MWBE minority and women?
Business enterprise.
Yes, thank you. They wanted to add a question about that. Okay, and there's the 2 pages on the back about it wired. So they said it was looking at the job, they thought it was a $90,000 minimum job and that 55,000 wasn't enough. And then these 4 firms, as I said, already said that they would bid on it. And so what they recommended was, like using those items and maybe just going through the RFP to see what we might have in there that projected those kind of things. The other thing they said was the type of grant it is, what is it, Clean Energies grant? Is that what it is? Climate Smart. That horse had left the barn long ago. Other municipalities were probably ahead of us. And so they all got submitted. And so they're all overwhelmed anyway, which is why they recommended extending it. Because most of the firms are loaded down with those anyway. So it was kind of
Well done.
yeah, it was kind of a neat thing.
Wow.
It was like in the Marriott Marquis. Running around from station to station. So I got pretty excited. So I just wanted to deliver that to you. And again, those 4 firms. I think they're all like upstate New York, I think. So that's all I have.
Wow, thank you
Yeah.
for that. And
Yeah.
within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, appreciate that.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. It's all meant to be, I was a little. Because we don't do those kind of things here, but
Yeah.
when they said it was wired, I was like, it was kind of fun for me. I had to do some research and figure out what that was. So I learned something out of it as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, somebody will have to tell me what we do when.
It's
so
on
we've
the
never had.
agenda, so at the end, you guys can
Okay,
figure out if you want to do
RFQ
anything
update.
about it.
We have
Okay.
RFQ update.
so thank
Yeah.
you, and
Yeah.
so we can just circle back, we don't have to do anything, okay.
Which is actually next.
Okay, so great. So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is old business. The first item on that list is the RFQ update. So is that you, Neil? Probably?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna tag team Rose and Liz a little bit too, because we tried to outreach to some of the firms that we did. Hope to get some information back from. We did receive 2 submissions, however, deadline was last Friday. To me, they look like decent proposals, so I think it's worth going through them and figuring out. Time-wise, we said in the RFQ that we thought a shortlist for interviews would be done by next Friday, which since there's only 2, I would suggest doing both of them and then scheduling a time. Coordinating with town board members to see what their availabilities are, but in the RFQ, we mentioned that our next meeting date, so the 11th of April, would be time for interviews. We can shorten that, of course, but those are the deadlines that we are working with at this time. Would you like, either one of you like to start with? or-
I mean, I think I shared, I think I sent it to
You sent it
everyone.
on email, because I wrote the question.
Okay.
Yeah, you answered, thank you.
And I think, you know, I was just doing that from memory and I can't remember who the firm was, but it was interesting that, they were struggling with the seeker part of it, I think, or environmental impact statement, because it was like a big unknown and until they weren't gonna know what it was until they had finished the other part. So they couldn't really, you know, give some kind of firm figure, because that was a big question. I tried contacting some other people and I got some names from my friend Kelly Reinhardt, who works for a big, you know, Bernie and Carter's, they're a big contractor, and she was in that planning field. And then her person at EDR had retired, and I think you had a different contact at EDR.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to somebody else who was in Saratoga, but I don't think I ever heard back from them. And then I had a lot of experiences trying to call people. You need to know a last name to punch through the directory. So I guess I haven't been around the real world enough, but so at least that was some information, but not near the bounty that I looked at.
And so. What I got, I was able to connect, as you say, to a human. For 5 firms and a couple emails. One of them, I think you were referencing Barton and Judas. I think that's who you're trying to get in touch with. And I never got a response back from them. I left
Oh, wow.
emails and voicemails. Did that with several firms, never got any response. My take is that they're too busy. For the 5 firms that did come back and I was able to connect with, they all said workload, so they're already swamped. One of them, who is DPZ, I want to say, they have offices up and down the coast. They do most of the work in the lower 48, but they do global work. And I said the cost was too low. So that was the only feedback I got as far as cost being too low. But this isn't interesting. I mean, I can respond if when I touch base with this, but the 2 firms that did come back, MRB, so they had a similar question as far as the seeker review. So what I asked them to do is just in their submittal is to outline 2 different approaches, one doing an EIS and one doing the bare minimum, and that's what they did. And then the other firm is a local company, Community Revitalization and Rejuvenation Consultants. They work with Witten Planning and Design. And Joanne Cornish, who sounds like she used to be a planning director at the city of Ithaca. They are able to do everything in budget, including the EIS, so.
And they're local.
And they're local, yeah. So they both look like decent proposals, so I'd suggest looking at them and, you know, finding a time that works with everybody that wants to be part of those interview processes and go forward with them. And then if we don't like any of them, then maybe take this, in consideration and, you know, really extend the timeline for when people can get back to us.
Yeah. Correct.
Did you, I don't know what the list is that Michael gave you, but did you speak with any of those 4 people?
Well, the Burge is the one that Rose and I try to connect with.
Barlow and Judas, is that Bird? Bird, is that a different, that's a different.
LaBerge,
Say, LaBerge.
LaBerge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Barton and Judas was someone else. I did try to reach out LaBerge, haven't heard back from them.
Okay.
Colliers, we reached out to, haven't heard back. Bella, we didn't reach out to them, but they were on our distribution list.
It was in the 4th firm, they didn't have a card, but there was just a pamphlet in there.
Oh, in here.
Yeah.
Wendell,
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Wendell,
Oh, Okay. So what are our next steps?
So you're interested in going ahead and interviewing people?
If the committee's, wants to move forward, then I think it's worth looking at these two, talking with them. And then we can go through the rating system after that.
So you're saying I mean, cause you said don't even do a deep dive into looking at these two today, for this meeting.
For this meeting, correct?
So you're saying we should decide to interview them and then look
And then
at it more closely?
we'll figure out if the committee would like to do interviews with these two. At that time, let's try to figure out a date that works with everybody and then really do the deep dive before those interviews. And then after the interviews, we'll rate them.
And so what's our time frame that are we proposing a time frame, or do we need to discuss the time frame for that?
Well, in the RFQ, the date that we said we'd do interviews is April 11th, which is a month out. So anytime before then or up to then would be my suggestion.
And April 11th is the date that we're deciding? Or
That would be for interviews.
April 11th is the day for the interviews?
That's what we put in the RFQ, yes.
And
That
April
was-
11th is also our next
I was
meeting.
gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the next meeting.
I mean, it's not uncommon for dates to kind of change outside of an RFQ.
Yeah.
Just have to keep any proponents and submittals
Mhm.
consistent and make sure everybody gets the same information.
Go ahead.
I feel like I'd like to read them first. I mean, we didn't have a lot of time, just because it's interesting that those four thought that that the budget was too low, but they think it's okay. So I guess I'd like to understand quite what they say that they're gonna do and all, just given that, because that's a big deal. And you don't want people to say, oh yeah, we can do it when they can't really do it, or really. So we can target our questions to understand what they really will be able to do. And I'll just say that I still have the question about the order of doing the environmental impact statement before. If that's not how we've ever done anything with a guidance document before this town, maybe we've never done it right, but we've never done that. So I was also confused about that and thought that it seemed like extra work out of water, so that's just, whatever I did raise that, and I still do not understand why we would do that first.
Well, it's concurrently, it's not first necessarily.
Well, it was one of the first listed things when I tried to explore it more with meals. And even concurrent, it seems like once you have what you're gonna put forward to do the seeker on and everything, then you do that and put it forward to the public. And doing it while you're doing the other thing just seems like it's extra work, because you're evolving what you're doing to comment on, to put into the seeker, but that's just from past experiences I have. Again, we're a small town, so maybe we've never done it right, but that's what we've done.
So we have talked about that and brief, even small jurisdictions do EISs. It's standard practice and good practice to do that. The state highly recommends that municipalities do EISs for comp plan updates, and town legal has also recommended that we do an EIS. So we have state and town legal recommending. Town can decide not to do it if it wants to, but best practice and recommendations from is to do an EIS.
I wasn't saying not to do it. We did it before. I'm saying to do it after we have the comp plan drafted out. To a further extent than along the way iterating those two things.
Well,
Because it's extra loops of things to do and yeah, we've never done that before. We've always done.
so like Liz said, it is concurrent. They run in tandem, and at one point, generally there's three alternatives. Generally the town will side with one, and that's what the final EIS goes with. But they do run concurrent.
Sometimes I guess, because some of those people said they don't do that, so.
Okay, is there like a hard and fast date that we're worried about, or we just know these two things need to happen and they will happen?
They have to happen concurrently because you can't do one without the other. You
Yeah.
can't the town board is not gonna be able to approve the comp plan, even a draft comp plan until the seeker
Yeah,
is being reviewed. You can't approve it until the seeker neg deck is issued.
Yeah.
Um,
so they may go a little back and forth.
It's gonna
possibly.
completely go back and forth throughout the whole process. Cause some of the things that are driving the EIS will help maybe steer some things on the comp plan, and vice versa.
Right,
Changes in the comp plan visions that the community have might steer
right,
the seeker discussions in one places, especially when you go from the draft EIS to the FEIS, which is the final EIS. That'll be all based on comments from public feedback.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense. Anything else? On that?
I'm not surprised about the pricing. I mean, 55,000 is what the grant's for, and I think that's great. But the NEIS right now, you're looking at just 110,000 on its own. And then you add the comp plan on top of that. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's prices and costs are, consultants are going up anyways.
Yeah.
Well, everything's gone up.
Everything's gone up.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised on kind of that comment about the costing. And we're gonna have to deal with it because we need to do this. I don't think we're getting any more money from the state at this point. And we just gotta take advantage of the match that we can do, and then the town board will have to make some decisions about how to get the rest, but that one firm that was, I think it was 110,000 was where they came in, and then, or we can't talk about cost.
Could I ask a question?
Yep.
Thank you. I'm interested in what the costs were relative to the size of the towns. I know I could see out in Southampton and some Long Island towns where they're much bigger, you know, many more people or whatever. So Michael Boggs, when you talked to some of those people, do you have some idea of what the town sizes were? I would have thought we were in the kind of the smaller range where it wouldn't be as much. Again, I haven't ever done this before, but I would imagine it's proportionate a little bit to how big the town is, number of people, you know, complexity of the town with industry and stuff like that. Any ideas about that?
Because this is a climate smart communities grant, the RFP kind of modeled that. And so they all knew exactly what once they had heard of our RFP, they had all seen it. So they knew exactly what it was, and they are doing some right now and they have done some. So town size didn't matter as much with them on that.
Okay, thank you.
It's just the items that grant is asking for.
Yep, thank you.
Same number of pages.
Can you, Niels, remind us what the grant says in terms of timeframes? So are we bound to any timeframes in the grant itself, not what the town board has approved previously, but what the grant itself says?
The grant is to 2028. Whether or not we can extend that, I'd have to check with Michelle. If we needed to, but in the grant as it's currently written, our deadline is 2028.
So we have to have a final document with the seeker neg deck by
All approved and. Yep.
2028.
Yep.
Start or finish?
Let me find out the date, exact date.
I mean, we're not waiting that long, but I'm just asking. Okay, because I'm curious about the grant time requirements can be extended, because if we had till 2028.
They might have been talking about the RFP. I don't know where the RFP.
Okay,
We originally gave them, so it wasn't a year, but we did give them only, the first time was 1 month.
Yeah,
And then
and
we
we
just,
extended it
Okay.
to 3.
Well, no, I mean, to have the work done.
oh, we
It
didn't,
sounded like it was within a year when I was talking to them,
Mhm.
but it wasn't the grant so much. What did I write? I wrote grant time requirements. I think they were talking about when we wanted their work done.
Okay.
I believe is what they were talking about.
okay, that makes more sense.
I was a little bit of a fish out of water.
No,
here.
no.
A bunch of terminology I wasn't familiar with, so.
It's all helpful information.
Okay, so where are we? So we have an interview date deadline-ish. And we're deciding
do you want to move forward?
whether to move forward with scheduling those, and I would think absolutely we would want to review their proposals before an interview, so we know which questions we need to ask.
I was even wondering if before we decide if we wanna do that or just
Or decide whether or not even
try
to
to get
interview.
more. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, what,
I mean, so we'd have to rewrite the proposal if we wanted to get more, or to eliminate the things that are stopping people from applying? Or are people just too busy and there's nothing we can do, but,
All of the above?
okay.
Yeah.
And if we interview, we can't also then take on other proposals.
I don't think there's any.
I don't know of any restrictions. I may just.
but that
look
may
a
be
little-
waiting a really long time. Is that okay? That seems a little bit.
Maybe we'd interview them and be really psyched and we just got lucky and they're
Right.
wonderful.
And yeah, I'm intrigued about the local one. It just
Yeah,
seems
I would like to know more
maybe
about that.
they kind of already know
Right,
what.
I could see how they could do it cheaper since they're here, there's no travel time, they're familiar with the area.
Interestingly, the difference between the two quotes is less than $500 out of 110,000. So they're essentially the same quote, whichever one we're dealing with.
Have they
Well-
done other I didn't really get time
The
to look at it. 'cause I didn't-
MRB has
They-
a whole list of towns in the
Right.
area, including like
MRB.
Waterloo and Geneva and that sort of stuff.
Right, I was wondering about the other. one.
The other one looks, I think they did some stuff with Dryden. I was skimming through it today to try and get a feel on both of them where they're at.
I would like Trident,
Yeah.
that was EDR.
Oh, that
That
was
was
Dryden didn't,
Yeah.
they didn't do Dryden, so.
Okay.
EDR did, yeah, Dryden's was nice, but I guess EDR's too busy.
There was a slight price difference though with the two, so MRB. Their base value is the same as CRRC, so but CRRC's incorporates the EIS. So, and then MRB said they do an EIS for an additional 65.
If it requires full environmental, if it's a no, just typical EIS where we don't have to do the full environmental, then it fits with the current pricing they've got.
Right. And then CRC might be able to lower their price if the town wanted to do the base. Maybe.
Well, I think it would be a good idea to at least talk to both of them and see what they have to say and what they want to do and maybe negotiate a little bit.
Okay.
So would we have to like talk over email or SharePoint?
No.
In terms of
Cannot.
like. Figuring out what we wanna ask. And I'm not gonna be here on April 1.
Well, I think what they would do is they would tell us the proposal, what they're going to do. And then we will come up with questions.
Well, they already gave us that.
Yeah, we
already
should
gave
have
us
some
that.
questions. We would,
Now with the R.
I would imagine we would
responses?
I
approach,
can't get anything. like-
yeah, do a review of the proposals and then perhaps there's a gap or questions we might have based on what is in or not in their proposal, and we prepare those questions and figure out who's gonna ask the questions, and then we'll let them,
Right,
answer.
so we need a meeting maybe before these interviews, it sounds like,
It's possible. I need to look at my calendar.
or how would we do that?
Just
Get in-
A Zoom meeting or?
Definitely asking you for-
Might be able to do a Zoom meeting.
April
I
11th.
mean, I would expect both of these companies to come in and give us a little presentation to really hit on the high notes of what they want to sell us on, because ultimately they're trying to sell us their work effort.
Right.
And then we definitely would have questions, and I think having some ahead of time is very good, especially if we have the same questions we were gonna ask both, so then we can do an apples to apples comparison.
Mhm. Are the interviews in person?
I would think
Both of those
so.
probably could be.
So we would do it here
MRB certainly
Could be,
on the 11th
or before.
or before, maybe that week. I mean, I guess you have to give people something more than one day to sign up for an interview, right? I guess we'd have to give them a window to schedule. So. It sounds like we're trying to decide whether or not we're doing anything else before we move forward with interviewing these groups, reviewing and interviewing these two groups. Or have we decided like we're good with just that? Cause we have the kind of two discussions going on at the
What-
same time here with the, maybe we need to be doing more or we've got enough. So I feel like we need to close one conversation and then move into maybe scheduling when we're gonna do interviews and when we need to meet.
Well, if we listen to the two proposals, that doesn't mean we have to accept either one of them.
That's true.
We can extend again. And see if we can get some more, and also, well, also depends on the money,
Thank you for that.
but it would be worth it if they already contacted us, we might as well listen to them,
Yes.
see what they have to say.
Okay.
And go from there.
So maybe ask for presentations and then we might ask a few questions, but it wouldn't exactly be an interview. Is that what you're saying, Bob? Because that makes a little bit more sense to me than bringing people in for a formal interview and then maybe making them wait like 2 months
Oh,
or
no,
something, because
no.
we fish out for more and then
Right.
they know they're out there, and so.
Yeah,
But like, we're taking these presentations and as part of the process.
Yeah, they don't have to give us a full, a full presentation, they can tell us what they're going to do, and well.
Right, well, I mean, a little one, but instead of like an actual
15 minutes.
interview where we have the prepared parallel questions and
Yeah.
everything, because I feel like we would need to meet or talk about that to make it be effective. We couldn't just seat of our pants come up with those while they're here
Hmm.
without any prep. But we could have them come and give us presentations and we
Right.
could ask just a couple of questions. This is the sort of info gathering phase, meeting them.
Mhm.
And then deciding if we're gonna do more in-depth interviews as
Rebecca,
that, as the process.
I haven't looked at the two submissions so far, so, and I don't remember the RFP, so. Do we have some kind of information about how many of these they have done previously? Like, we did it for this town, this town, this town, some evidence of their ability to do it, and maybe even they could send hopefully they attached an example of one they've done previously?
Both of them include that information in them. Both of their proposals have the
You-
information.
Thanks.
Well,
I haven't had a chance to look, so I'll look at that. Thank you. Thanks, Carl.
Like at first glance, do we know if any of these could be fixed? So like four firms said that they would, like, is it even like plausible? To like,
So the 1 year too short, I'm still a little, I don't know where that came from, so.
Well,
Still
I
a
think,
question.
just sorry, I didn't catch you. But in our phasing, in our RFQ, we have 5 different phases with phase 5. Going on in Q1, Q2, 2025, where we're adopting. So that's probably where the 1 year came from. But it is curious too, because the firms that did apply just gave us their own schedule.
Yeah.
Which is what usually you would see, not saying I'm not gonna do it because I can't meet it,
Yeah.
but come back to us and say, this is what's realistic, this is what is feasible. But
But for the grant time, I'd have to check with Michelle and DRDC, the MWBE, yes. 90,000. Any additional money would have to be approved by the town board. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing to think about that I was gonna mention from discussion with Michelle. When the town went to a similar RFQ for the climate things, the town only received one submitter. And then the thing that really surprised me was when the town did something similar for just a painting contractor, no upgrades, we only received 2. So this is much more specialized than a painter, not to be elitist, but it's a little bit more of a specialized group than we only had 2. That really surprised me.
But,
Yeah,
yeah, what you alluded to, they were all very busy.
Yeah.
So that they weren't gonna be kept.
Yeah.
The 4, you mean?
no, the
Yeah.
2
Okay.
painters.
Oh, the painters, I'm sorry.
Why we only have 2 painters?
Diane,
I wonder why we wouldn't just move to figuring out what our interview questions are and then interviewing these 2 that it said in your note, they look decent. And go through that process, because I think if we leave it squishy and say, maybe we're gonna open it up and maybe we're not. We could lose one of them who could be our best solution. It seems like we have to prepare the interview questions anyway. And we should, like, for getting people together to hear proposals and have interview questions.
Yeah.
That's a lot to manage, so we could just do that once with each of these, and then we could decide if there's too many questions or, not enough experience or something to open it up and change some of our process.
I would agree, if we have time to meet or figure out a way to get the interview questions together, read these proposals first, and as a group be ready, then that's fine, but it sounded like we were just talking about having them come first, in which case I was going towards most of Rich, just hear the presentation. So I think we should decide the time frame on which we can handle the preparation.
Can we schedule for interviews that are further out and then decide on the April 11th meeting what the questions are?
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait too long.
Yeah.
Companies like this could get, I mean, they might take another proposal and
Oh,
then
so you
we're
wanna go
out.
faster than that, okay, I understand.
I mean, they have the schedule though,
To be ready.
and the schedule did say that interviews would be April 11th, so I don't think, as long as we're getting back to them and staying in touch with them, because we say there's a short list on March 22nd. We can say by that point, if we're ready, and then just say, hey, but we need one, like, we're gonna schedule your interview for the 12th or the 13th. That gives us the 11th to answer, like, to come up and develop our questions.
Yeah.
Right, or the beginning of the next week, even, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's a lot of money, and so we need a lot of work, so we need to be ready. And so
Yeah.
if somebody leaves because we don't do it exactly on the worst, well, they weren't right anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so
We have
hold
to be
on, we
ready.
got,
No, I'm sorry.
Sure, oh, okay.
My
That's okay.
computer is locked out.
Oh,
I can't
no.
get any of this stuff. Trying
okay,
to figure out how to, because they changed to SharePoint,
Yeah.
okay,
I don't use, and I don't use Microsoft, so.
yeah.
I had a
I'm
problem.
talking about that
Let's,
later too. but-
let's put that on our
Yeah.
list of things to talk.
Sure.
Let's remember to talk about that and stay on task with this conversation, because we're at almost 10 after 6. So, so it sounds like where we're at is we are going to interview both of these groups. They both looked good. We're gonna try to do that on April 11th,
No,
After,
after April 11th. And before April 11th, we're going to all review the proposals, their submissions, and we're going to devise questions that we still have for them based
on
on,
the 11th.
based on our review
Right.
of those proposals. Will come to our meeting on the 11th and craft additional questions we might have for them. And then are we scheduling the interviews for after the 11th, even though we say it's gonna be on the 11th?
Yeah.
Okay. So so the short list, I think, is already in place. I don't think we need to make any decisions on that.
no, we just will need to notify them.
So
when
who
we're scheduled.
does, yeah, so that'll be you, so you'll notify them. And then how do we set up an interview with them, or are we inviting them to come to that meeting on the 11th?
No, it sounded like the committee was gonna
Yeah, how can
settle
we
on,
make the questions if they're.
Well,
So we're gonna review, and then we'll meet and we'll devise our questions, and then we'll schedule the interviews.
my suggestion here is, if we want to do it in April, to give them as much lead time that maybe we want to think about dates for interviews right now. At least a time frame that we can give them
Yeah.
when I reach out to them. So I'll reach out to them tomorrow. And let them know we'd like to interview them and try to book a chunk of time.
So the 11th is a Thursday, so it would probably be that next week.
So do we-
Well, we could do it
15th
also
after.
after, do the meeting on the 11th and then book it maybe the week after if we have a special
think-
meeting for that.
I mean, I think Niels is right. I think we gotta get this on people's calendar. I think waiting to the 11th to schedule them, we might not get them the week after.
Yeah, which is like the 15th is tax day, so maybe people don't want that day.
So
but beyond
do we wanna decide as a group right now, a couple of chunks, afternoons that are available?
Yeah, it is the
Or mornings?
intent that the entire steering committee attends the
Good
interview?
question.
Or were there gonna be select numbers?
I'll leave that up to you. I would imagine.
I
anyone-
mean, maybe we could all go, but only some people talk.
Right. I mean, I think we should all hear it if we can, as many people as possible,
Yeah.
if you want
Okay.
to.
No, that just. that's-
And we can record it too.
Well, that was my next question. Can they be recorded if it's an
Oh,
interview?
yeah.
That I don't know. I'll ask about that one.
Yeah.
So it might be
I
able
think
to
you can
be
get
accessed
permission.
via Zoom,
Yeah.
but we would probably need some permission if it's gonna be recorded.
If it's a town meeting, it has to be recorded. If
But
we're
this
meeting,
isn't
it has to be.
town.
Not,
recorded.
not committees.
Yeah, not committees. If there were 3 town board members here, it would have to be recorded.
Hmm.
Or if it was a planning board meeting or a BZA meeting,
Yeah.
not these kind of committees,
We do it because we want the public
Right.
involved.
but we don't have to.
So do
Yeah.
we want
Already
to,
open.
Our ad meetings aren't.
Yeah.
Taped,
Okay.
our youth
I
commission
thought
meetings
all
aren't taped.
committees had to be recorded. No?
do we want to do like a doodle poll or something like that to come up with a couple of times? And let me ask you this question for the interview. Are we looking at an hour? 30 minutes?
I think an hour each would be sufficient.
Okay.
Would be good.
So we're looking for two 1-hour blocks
Mhm.
where how many of our committee needs to be there? Like at least
As
half?
many. as
Do we need a minimum number of us to be available?
You don't need to, but I'd suggest at least half.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least half of the people there. Do we want to do a doodle poll or are we gonna try to come up with 2 1-hour? I mean, the thing is you have to see what their availability is also. So I feel
Yeah.
like we need
Yeah.
to come up with like 5 or 6 options. And then present those options to them and let them assign themselves to
Or
them.
let them
Further-
decide the option. Maybe they are busy also.
Right,
A further.
And then we
Yeah,
can do
but
a
we need to
a
give
poll,
them
we can
some-
do a poll. If they say, well, we can be here, the 11th, the 18th, the 23rd, then we can pick one of those days.
yeah, I think it might make more sense for us to come up with a few dates because we're a lot of people.
Mhm.
First and, I mean, we could either try to hash that out in this meeting or we could do a doodle poll.
So and just an add on to your question, Anne. Would we try to do them at the same time with enough spacing in between, like half an hour in between? I mean, if we were all coming and we could be, in one place rather than coming 2 times, is that an option also? or
That would
to
be
think
nice.
about? Yeah,
That'd be nice.
I mean, as long as there's enough space in between and we
Yeah.
keep the schedule.
Do you wanna do your poll thing?
I'll do a poll.
You
That way we
have-
don't have to take too much time here.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's do that and then we can all give our, and then. If they can be back to back with 30 minutes in between, that's nice. If not, that's fine too.
So
We're
which-
talking about during the day, between sometime
And-
workday time, I guess, right?
yeah, just let me know which week.
I
15th.
don't know. I think we might have to offer some evening times.
Mhm.
People are busy. I mean, as a
Right.
consultant, I'm busy all day.
Right.
So I end up doing a lot of things in the evening. So they
Okay.
may, an interview time for them, they may prefer an
Okay.
evening.
Well, I
Might
mean,
wanna-
that may well be easier for some of the people on this committee.
Yeah,
And I mean, to be honest, they're a consultant, they want this work, so.
Right,
they'll
yeah.
they'll make. it work.
Rearrange their
That's
schedule.
right.
to
They're
be here, 'cause
flexible.
They wanna,
They can be
they wanna
flexible.
show that they can get it done when we ask. them to.
That's true. That's true. Anything else? On the RFQ interviews, do we have a good plan? We have our action steps all,
So we'll review everything, come to the 11th meeting with questions that we'll talk through to come up with a specific list of questions, and we'll schedule an interview the following week with both firms.
So those are, since you guys do this from different angles, it would be good to have some idea like how many questions is like a reasonable number and stuff. I mean, if you think about it for the 11th.
I mean, interviews that I've been on with groups, it really can vary. It depends
Yeah.
on what you're doing, but I think that'll become more
For an
clear
hour.
after we
Yeah,
review.
I'm just
the
saying, when we
RFP.
come on April 11th, I
Yeah.
find it helpful to know like what's a reasonable amount.
And we don't have to
Like
wait for the,
5 to 10,
That's
just
what I was
kind of
thinking.
consider 5 to
Yeah,
10.
just to have them in our head. while we're
Yeah,
talking.
the discussions might take us a different place and we only need 2,
Yeah.
or
you don't want 20.
they're actually.
No, right,
more.
okay, well, that's
We
not-
wanna keep it to 1 hour interview.
Yeah,
so.
it's helpful, so thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd probably let them know that we are expecting like a 10 to 15 minute presentation, because we want a lot of the information to be back and forth. But
Yeah.
just for them to be able to present their thoughts to us and what they're proposing would be good, but give it a moment.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And that as part of the interview.
Yes.
Okay, we could compile questions, you know, obviously, as you're reviewing, if you come up with a question, you can, you know, make note of it.
I think that would be helpful to have a little discussion even before the following meeting, you know, just people come up with questions to pose them somewhere.
Yeah.
Just to keep the,
In our shared documents. If anyone can get the box open.
On the brainstorming.
Yeah.
whiteboard.
I saw several members.
I've done it.
You got.
I got 2 notes.
Okay, so yeah, so if there's a brainstorming whiteboard, we could throw questions in there if we can figure it out. That'd be a good way for us to practice.
And if you can, if you have email issues, just
In it.
send emails to me and we can put them
Okay.
on
Well, that's not, it's not an email issue, it's getting into it, is the issue.
the
Do
login.
you want to create us a brainstorm, whatever, a tool, either a brainstorm just specifically for the question?
Here, we'll do topic 5, can do questions.
Great, perfect.
Yeah.
And then
Wait, what will be?
we'll try it, and if we can't, it'll be a good exercise for us as a committee to practice.
Yeah.
And if we can't figure it out, send it to Niels and he will fix it. for us. Thank you. Anything else on RFQ conversation, update? Do I need to do anything else? Okay. Next item on old business is committee rules. I don't know where this goes or who's leading.
So I can
Okay.
start it. Primarily for the spokesperson, primary one is Liz, alternate is Roxanne. Roxanne had a suggestion of maybe tweaking language for the meetings, so I highlighted that. So as far as, you know, when it's, you know, the language that's in there, so that's what's before us right now.
Well, it says 6 o'clock. We never have them at 6 o'clock now, so it seems like we've settled sort of to 5:30 and then. It says Wednesdays, but it seems like we've been Wednesday or Thursdays, so
Yeah,
we could get it a little more accurate as long, I mean. it's
Do we
fine
have to be
just leave it,
specific?
Or we could not have it at all specific.
So the language, in case, well, I can't remember, so the language says meetings generally be conducted on the second Wednesday, starting at 6 unless otherwise determined. And then the next paragraph says meeting dates are subject to change based upon committee direction, so there's nothing binding to 6 o'clock at the second Wednesday, but
I mean, you could say 5:30, second Wednesday or Thursday, that's really what we've been doing, that's at least closer to what we're doing. But it doesn't really matter, it was just a suggestion that I don't feel super strong about. Save my
Whenever we have
tips
this
for other things.
yeah,
Yeah.
as
Whatever we
determined
have.
by. Okay, so what comes next with that?
Quick question, please.
Yes, go ahead, Rebecca.
It's really nicely written, by the way. I really like it. So because we're trying to get transparency and get public involvement, and it says public can come, do we advertise like a week in advance? Like, just because these are, you know, like we're meeting tonight, do we advertise on the website what the date and time is each week or update it so people do know, or how do we do that? Thanks.
Yep.
So I know that in the weekly newsletter for any of those folks that get Carissa's emails on Fridays, it's usually stated the week before to give
Okay,
folks
great.
that's coming. I'd have to check our Facebook page whether we say it on that,
I think it's on the town website. you
but
know,
it's
the
on
meeting's
definitely on the town website, on the
Yeah.
first page.
Great,
upcoming-
thank you. Great.
Check the Facebook page.
Anything else? So we're on committee rules. Is there anything that needs to be, so have we decided that we're gonna make a change or an update there?
it's up to you all.
What do committee members think?
I mean, I think there were X's in there before, so we've just gone ahead and identified who the spokespeople are. And I'm sure this is gonna get updated again, just to change the X that we have as the consultant.
Mhm.
But for now, I think we can just go ahead and approve it if everybody's comfortable with that. The one thing I just wanna say is when we say spokesperson, spokespeople. I don't know if that's the right one. But so we're kind of being authorized or we're gonna be the point people for any outreach that the media has to us. Whether in public. In the variety of just situations, if we're out at a meeting and there's a reporter there, we can answer questions. We can't commit the town to anything. So we can talk about the process, where we are, where we're going, what we'd like for the community, but we can't commit to anything. Only the town supervisor can speak to that in public, so
Okay,
just
good to know.
Commit
Thank you
to
for saying
what
that.
do you mean? I mean,
make like official commitments, like we will get this done by the end of the month.
Oh, no, by the end of
we
the month,
can't,
I mean, the town has committed to doing this and we launched this and that's what we're about, so we can certainly say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But not like official commitments or saying, well, we're gonna address this.
yeah, right.
We just have to.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Okay, anything else?
Anything on meeting times, leave as is, change,
The meeting time, 6 o'clock versus 5:30,
Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
What's the day?
I
that
don't
we
have a
can't
strong
have it?
feeling about this.
Wednesday, okay.
Oh, no, but I thought it was just this month it could have. Don't we switch between these?
I think it varies I think Rebecca and I both have evening
Right,
classes, so it varies from one.
Thank you.
Next, yeah.
right, it had been Wednesdays.
Yeah, sometimes it's
So, yeah.
Tuesday, sometimes it's Wednesday, sometimes it's Thursday, so.
Maybe we shouldn't have anything not to mislead people about when it is or isn't. Check the website. Yeah, maybe just say, what meetings will be
Yeah,
listed.
it'll either be a
Oh,
Tuesday,
we
a
can-
Wednesday, or Thursday,
Right.
either 5:30 or 6
Say,
o'clock.
I mean, going to Rebecca's question, that if they're listed, posted at least a week in advance on the town's
Yeah,
website.
do we have to
And
say
the
what
comp
day?
plan steering committee's page.
I don't think we have to.
I think we should say that instead, just in case anybody gets it, so it's like, you never do that.
Okay, I mean, that's a legitimate thought. We don't want people to have an expectation that then we don't meet, right? So, and there is a reality with this committee, it's
Committee.
large and we don't have a regular meeting time.
Hmm.
So, we're meeting monthly, we know that. And it's usually at 5:30 or 6, but it's not on any particular day.
I was gonna
So,
say, we could change it to, meeting generally will occur a minimum of once a month,
Yeah.
and then just
And
Put
be
the address.
posted at least a week in advance on the town's website and
Yeah.
the comp plan steering committee's
Right,
page.
exactly.
Yeah,
And it was not on the Facebook page, but I do think that's something we could be putting out.
do we know who would do that?
Yep, Chris, she's the only one that's touched the
Oh,
Facebook page.
sure. Okay. So that makes sense. Anything else on the committee rules?
if you want to be formal and have a motion.
Should we be formal and have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Laurel. Do we have a second? Second. All right, thank you. All those in favor of those changes? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item on old business is community outreach. We have 4 items under community outreach: postcard mailing, farmers market, Earth Day event, monthly questions, and photo submissions. So community outreach conversation.
Start with postcards.
Okay, start with postcards.
Want to start?
no, yeah, I mean, I could start with postcard, it depends how long, because I definitely wanna say the Earth Day.
Yeah.
Care Day, because that's pretty soon, so. But the postcards, I sent the information as I promised I would after the last meeting about the postcard that we sent and a copy of it for the Drinking Water Source Protection Committee to, after it had been out for a while and posted on the town website and all, to try to get, just have everybody in the town get eyes on something on paper. And so that's what we did, and that was how much it costs. It costs, I think, roughly $1,200 to mail them to Fort. We've mailed it to 1,420, maybe, I'm not exactly sure, households. We didn't do any mailing within the village of Twinsburg because that wasn't what this is water police about. Because they have a different water system.
And the postcard mailing the objective is to,
Well, what we talked, or I guess what I had thrown out as an idea was we were trying to find at the last meeting ways to further raise visibility of this committee and that maybe everybody just doesn't see electronic things. And so, you know, postcards are a more cost-effective way to, you know, have a piece, something go to people's mailboxes.
How to communicate with us, how to
Right.
find out what's going on.
Yeah, there'd be a little, just a tiny little blurb, I guess, about trying to have people be excited about what we're doing and, you know, we're updating, we're adding sustainability because everybody's, you know, it's a
Yeah.
word people are interested in. And, you know, here's the ways you can give us input. There's the online place to give questions and find out when our meetings are and what.
So we have a
events are coming up.
draft essentially from
Yeah,
based
we
on
need a
your.
draft, and then, we use mailboxes. The mailbox, which I thought was pretty effective, I mean, they did everything, they printed it, they addressed it, they used their mobile mailing permit to send it out, so. It would be very hard for us to do it in-house for us, I think.
Do you know what the price was, or did we talk about that?
I sent it. in an
Oh, okay,
email.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it was, the total was. Almost like 11.50 or something.
$11.50.
11,000, $1,150.
Wow.
No, that was for,
Like, Jake.
no, it was for 14, over
Yeah.
1,400 units.
So
We
less
had,
than that.
we had 1,500 postcards printed, but we mailed out 14, a
Yeah.
little over 1,400 of
The
them.
price wasn't bad.
No, that's not bad.
No, the postage is 36 cents, which is the bulk rate, which we do not have here, a bulk rate permit, but we don't have a bulk permit. At least we didn't used to, and, yeah, and the printing was 300, I specified it out, but the printing was 3 something, and the addressing labor was something else too, something, and we send them an Excel file. Which we have the one we did, you know, which Linda Little, who's the chair of our committee, went through a few times to sort of see if there were duplicates or things that didn't make sense, which we got the tax assessment roll file that Chris uses, so.
So
That's
for-
what we did.
So for the postcard mailing, we have a model to use. We don't have a draft for ourselves. We
No.
don't have a time frame for ourselves, but we
Right.
have a potential price.
So it's an idea, yeah, and that's a rough cost.
Okay,
And that was colored, so you saw it had if you looked at the postcard we had the little Ulysses logo on it. We can have some other things, whatever you want. You could have colored cardstock, we didn't use that, but.
so any conversation or decisions to be made on that right now?
I don't think we're gonna send it out right away, but the price was very good for that, and I think, yeah, we should use that at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for
I agree.
providing all that,
Sure.
Roxanne.
When we're compiling addresses, though, it probably makes sense to take out village as well, I would imagine.
Mm.
Right, well, the village wasn't in this,
Yeah.
the Excel file.
Why are we taking the village out? Because they have their own conflict.
Yeah, because it's not the village, we don't have any say over the land use in the village.
Oh, so even though village people are in the village,
In the town.
You were gonna
You're in
have,
the town.
you have an opportunity to provide insight as a town member. But the comp plan is not gonna dictate necessarily what's gonna happen in the village, because the village already has its own. Is that
Right.
good enough?
It's a little strange.
No, I
I know,
mean-
we're in the village right now,
Right.
and we're meeting in the village, but we're not part of the village.
but I would think that people in the village would care about what's going on in the town.
They have their own.
Right,
Sure,
Well, that's only for the village, but we're still part of the town.
right.
Right, no, you have.
and they can
you allow
still
it.
be participating.
Okay.
Yeah, but we wouldn't probably do the mailing to that just because. Yeah, I mean, it's like the village didn't really get input from the town on their comp plan. It's, you know, you can give it, but you don't, it's not your main focus because we don't have any land use authority. In the village, and the village doesn't have any land use authority.
Yeah.
It's super.
I know,
important
it's
to
a
work
very
together.
bizarre
We probably don't-
situation, but that's the way it
Yeah,
works.
it's
Yeah.
super important to work together. Yeah, I know, exactly. It really.
We may
is
not have to
important.
make any decision
Yeah.
on that right now, whether the mailer goes to village residents.
Yeah.
But thank you for bringing that up,
Yeah,
and I think we're not gonna send this out next week, so
No.
let's circle back to that.
Mm.
yeah.
And
so
make sure we're
maybe-
having that conversation so that, you know, it feels like it.
I mean, don't I pay town tax?
Everybody's
You do.
voices are getting heard. Yeah,
If we want to think further about that, then maybe we can have a subgroup or something to decide, you know, work on what we might put on the postcard. or think about that for another meeting, but that would be the next thing we'd need, and then you send a template to them and they can give us the exact vote with the.
We could look at the cost of what it costs to include the village and make a decision. People could identify when they're filling out responses, if they're a village resident or town, if we wanted to like slice and dice
Yeah,
responses.
yeah. I mean, for sure, we're getting input from anybody who lives in the town.
Yeah.
That's. And we might get input from people outside the town if they're using a QR code, who knows, right? So, okay, anything else on postcard mailing at this moment in time? Okay,
No, I think that's, keep that discussion going.
farmers market, Earth Day event.
Do you wanna, put
Yeah,
this unless I saw you. make-
Well,
I can say
Roxanne
about
had
that.
already talked to Kate, so,
Okay,
Kate Darkwood.
yeah.
Yeah, so the comp plan, no, conservate, this is the Conservation Sustainability Advisory Committee is. Kate Darford for the last 2 years, I guess, organized it mostly as a cleanup and then did a lot of other things. And so this year, she's on the Conservation Committee. So this year, we're kind of taking the lead on it and helping her out more. So it's gonna be on the 20th, which is close to Earth Day, maybe even Earth Day, I'm not sure. At the
April.
farmer's market.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a big cleanup again, that's being organized and with all the stuff, and we're trying to get food, we have some lined up, trying to get more, and we're having a whole bunch of different tables, like groups there that have to do with sustainability, like, well, in the town, we have the bee committee, we have the tree committee, Arbor Day is gonna be the next week, pollinators, we have cooperative extension is gonna send us some information on the Climate Smart, community cleanup, community different things people can do, and we have some other materials from the community campaign we did. So we'll have that there.
So the
A
connection,
few things. So we were thinking that it's a really good opportunity because last year we had a little more than 100 people come.
Mhm.
So and they're obviously pretty local people. So it would be a really good opportunity to gather, let people know that it's another place to have visibility. This is happening. Here's what it's about. Here's how you can find out more, whatever, a big poster thing where you can post it with your idea, whatever the committee wanted. But I thought it's an opportunity that I'm putting out there,
Mhm.
to have something. At a community thing that thinks about sustainability and the community and Earth Day and all that. Maybe we're gonna have the youth center, so we're having a lot of things like.
Okay, any comments, thoughts, ideas? Actions?
I think it'd be a good idea to have a table or something there. We had one at Winterfest. That we got some input on, but not,
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I think
Gross.
this event,
Yeah.
though.
yeah.
would be more, yeah.
How easy is it to recreate what was at Winterfest?
really easy.
I mean, was it just a
think you just need
table and like a
volunteers.
person, or was there
I
a
think-
banner, or like, did we have?
All of the above, had a tent, because it was raining.
Um,
Maybe we can make just like a poster that says, Lucy's doing a comp plan update, find out more here, and then people can come over. and-
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we have a poster or a banner,
Yeah,
let's
but
like
you
hang
gotta
on
try
to it.
We have a banner that
Yeah.
we made.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we still have it,
Yeah.
and that can be,
Oh, I threw it away.
like, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away.
Could some of the kids in this cohort also attend or?
Yeah, so real quick, the
Yeah.
youth internship program is starting up again. And so they sound like they're interested, so we can get them to volunteer as well.
And maybe
So that would be a
have
bunch of-
somebody else from our committee
Yeah,
at least. to
and-
talk.
The cohort is just, for those who don't know, it's a group of high school kids that are taking some extra trainings with some of the members of the town. Ty is involved again there, and Niels, and so they did a presentation for us for some of us at the end of May, or at the end of December last year, after the last one. We're doing it again, and I would highly encourage everybody to participate in that one this year, because it was so enlightening to hear the students talk. But they could help with some of
Great,
the people being there and having bodies at the comp table.
do we have any interest, I mean, is there anybody who knows right now that they're available that day and they want to be there?
What day is it?
The 20th,
Saturday.
Saturday, it's gonna
I'm-
be
Oh.
from 10 to 2.
Of March?
No, April,
Oh, they-
right near Earth Day.
I could do an hour. I usually go and I think we do Salo Drive usually and pick up there, but so I'll probably be there anyhow, but I did wanna go pick up some, so if I can do an hour at some point.
Thank you.
I
Any
can,
others?
I can be there.
Great.
I'm gonna be picking up garbage at the school with the baseball team, but then I can be there after.
Okay, great.
Are you
I
gonna
know
bring
I'm
your
out of town.
garbage?
that
We are gonna bring the
Yeah, we
garbage.
had so much garbage, we drove
We
it.
found a lot of garbage last year. at the school.
Kate and I drove the garbage, it was a lot.
So that's 3. Thank you. If anybody else.
I'll be there, but I think I might need to do the energy sustainability table because CCE is doing a big thing on the commons.
Maybe those tables can be side by side.
Yeah, and well, we have some other materials.
You can
too.
just run back and forth.
This is all there. So, so the 3 of us will be,
I'm a possibility.
Diana might be there,
Okay.
but she might also be doing reuse, but she can be, we
Okay,
could have all our tables.
that's right. I'm all right in a row, so you guys can be multitasking.
Yeah.
Rebecca, is your hand up anew or is that an old hand up?
No, it's a new hand. I can't be there, but what I am interested in doing, and I'd help do it, is, so do we actually have like the same survey for 3 questions that people can fill out at the table, in which case like a banner, if I understand, is like just the title, comp plan. But we could actually have a box and people could fill out those forms and stick them in. Is that what you did at the Winterfest, or is that a possibility for this one?
Yes to both.
Okay, and the banner, does it have like images on it and information, or is it just kind of like comp plan is coming? A banner to me is a strip with the title in it, or do you mean more like a informational poster?
It's a banner, has our QR code, has the title, comp plan update and the town logo. And I think it also has our website for the committee.
Okay, if you want, and do you hang it like up in the air, or is it like on the table? Do you want to
Last
post?
time last time we strapped it to the table just in the front.
Uh-huh, Okay.
It's about 6 feet, 5 feet long. It's
uh-huh,
not,
it's awesome. Okay, you don't need any more than, I was gonna also make a poster, but after that, well, you don't need it. Okay, great.
Standing up poster too would be good though.
I was just saying, we could all get T-shirts, like the QR code,
Yeah.
like that.
That's colorful and you can draw up. two
That's-
people
I
over.
can do a poster. I can do a nice looking shiny poster if that,
Yeah.
and you
I
know,
can get,
print it out, and put it on foam core. I'll
Great.
send you a draft of it by email or something, if you want it. You know, like 3 feet by 4 feet or something,
Great.
done.
I wonder,
Awesome.
do we have like
Thanks, Rebecca.
things to stand it up on? Like
yeah, I
can-
brought,
I think we need
Gotta have something.
I brought a couple easels last time.
Right. Or if you
Yep,
wanna have-
I'll send you guys a draft in like a week and a half.
Okay, great.
Super. Anything else about Earth Day?
No, thanks, everybody.
Okay, that sounds great. Monthly questions?
Encourage people to come. Community.
So we have those 3 that we started with Winterfest.
Mhm.
They're constantly pushed out with the newsletter. We have about 18 submittals
Oh,
already, so you can check those out. Do we want to stick with those 3 for now, or?
Is it it's in our box that nobody can open yet, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get that, cleaned up this week.
And if anything, we can add that
There's some
as,
good-
as
Is
a
there any
whiteboard.
highlights you want to share with us? No, not on the spot.
Are those,
Right.
I couldn't find, it said something in your email actually about feedback from the community engagement questions along with the info in the 2 notebooks.
Yep.
I see a thing that says notebooks and I go there and there's nothing in the notebooks at all. There's like nothing there. So am I looking in the wrong place? Cause I am totally unfamiliar with this whole setup. So I wanted to ask people who are more familiar, where is it?
After the meeting, I can show you
That
what
would
it
be
should be.
great. I have it on my computer if I wanted to see. I spent like an hour and a half on this today.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a brainstorming thing that has monthly collections, so if you wanna think about maybe the next round of things, and just real quick, it's not a super great tool that Microsoft uses. I mean, it's easy to use, but there is a metric that shows how long it takes people to use it.
Mm.
On average, I'd say it's about 5 or 7 minutes. Unfortunately, it gets skewed. There's a few people that took like 1,200 hours. I don't know what that equates to. I think they just opened it and let it run.
And just left it open
Just let
for,
it run. So I kind of took
2
those
weeks.
out
Yeah.
and took a average of the others.
Okay.
So it's pretty quick.
yeah. Okay, so you're asking though, do we want additional questions
Or new rounds.
or new rounds of questions? So maybe in our actions. Go ahead, Tammy.
I was gonna say, yeah, like after maybe we read them, right?
A good idea, good point. And also, while we are all doing our practice, learning how, while we're figuring out our brains, doing the brainstorm for the interview questions. We'll jump in and review these, and then maybe we can also be brainstorming some other questions to put out there next time.
Can we make it clear that these questions may be updated and they're just the beginning of the community outreach and not the total of the community outreach?
Yeah.
Because I was just reviewing one of the comments. The question about, are you new to the town or a lifelong resident, and what aspects of the town drew you to relocate and or stay here? The response was, this is a truly terrible question.
Yeah.
And that there's no opportunity to let you know anything outside of those 3 items. So I want to make it we should make it very clear to folks that this is just the beginning.
Or else just
Yeah.
have another one. What else else,
Right.
what else
Give
would
them
you
a
like to
bench
share?
space,
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
minimal,
Maybe.
minimal words.
We did that with the.
That actually is.
We did that with the drinking water and we actually got some useful.
I
things.
think having an open space for open comments is
Yeah.
important. I mean, obviously you have to have a limit. You can't
Yes.
have it
One.
like 10,000 words.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta put a limit there, but yeah, that's
sure.
really important information. And then, yeah, I think that's a good point to have. So you build that in somewhere.
That's
Meals to the survey that says these are gonna be constantly evolving, and
Okay.
also feel free to say something else.
In a succinct manner.
Yes, succinct manner. In less than 500 words. Okay, anything else? Monthly questions? Okay, photo submissions is our next item. We're gonna wrap it up here.
What's that again?
We are under community
No,
outreach.
no, I was just
Oh.
wondering what photo submissions, I wasn't
Oh.
quite recalling what it was. that we
Yeah,
were doing.
what's,
So, yeah, I think it was the last meeting. I was floating the idea that we put out to the community members to send in photos for each quarter of the year. So since spring starting next year, we can push it out on Facebook and the newsletter, say, hey, we're looking for submissions of what y'all think best represents or encompasses the feeling of the town during spring.
I like it.
And then we can take those, I think, was it your comment, Lowe's, that
Yeah.
it was like a Facebook Live? I don't think we'll use Facebook,
No.
but we can use something where maybe there's public engagement. So like, yeah, I really like this photo. And whoever those photos are, then we can incorporate those on the comp plan and give a credit to
I like it.
whoever took it. I did just a quick language. If anyone wants to tweak that language, let me know, and then can ask Carissa to push that out for the next time so we can start getting some photos.
So they're gonna submit photos into just one place or portal. It's not on a social media thing where they're gonna.
Right, it's not going to be out on
Public.
social at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe.
And then later it'll be
encourage
a voting.
people, right, to
Well,
do other than just organic work.
Yeah.
So one of the, I don't know how many folks here are on it, but there's I think it's the Trumansburg Community and Happenings. Or the Community and Gatherings, I'm not sure. One of the group Facebook pages just did this because they were looking for a new photo for their cover photo, which is the photo that pops up when you click on the group. So they, over the course of the last 2 weeks, had folks submit pictures of Trumansburg and the town of Ulysses. And there was a variety from farm fields to lake photos to falls
Cool.
photos.
Oh, wow.
It was really cool to see all the photos. And then for that particular one, because it was Facebook, you got to vote by liking the photo. So the photo that got the most likes ended up getting. So I think we could try to take advantage of what just happened with that group and continue it because they got a lot of good feedback. There were a lot of photos that were submitted. So
Yeah.
there are photos out there.
That's what I'm thinking, like there could be 50 different photos, and then how do we vote? on that? Like what happens?
It's part of our community engagement.
Yeah, but where does it happen? Like, where do they go? Where do people go to vote? You know?
Maybe when we have one of the public meetings or something,
Yeah.
maybe, you know,
Mm.
we can have the whole thing and it'll be
Mm.
something fun for people to
Mhm.
do, in addition to giving their.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Photo? Submissions? No, I like it. Sounds fun.
Okay.
Next steps is our next item number 6 on our agenda, next steps.
So one thing Michelle and I need is a quarterly report of hours spent. So I have some of yours, like, well, I've got yours, I think. What you do. If you forgot, if you did do it, it's fine. If you redo it, don't worry about that because we can filter it through spreadsheet, but we do need from January 1st to March 30th or 31st. However much time you spent reviewing materials, spending time in meetings. And we'll need that by the first Friday in April.
And that's that website that we go
It's
through.
another
It's like a
form.
form. Okay.
Yeah,
Will that come to us in an email?
I'll push it in an email.
Which is
Yeah.
April 5th.
Anything else?
Do we have anything extra that you'd like to, the committee would like to talk about on the next meeting, aside from the questions for the consultants?
I guess we could firm up
The Earth Day stuff, just
Birthday
quickly, that won't take too much
things.
time. Yeah.
anything else for our next meeting.
So where are the responses from the 2 people? Where did that live?
Or she,
In an email? Okay.
But
I'm
is
not
it
sure
also on the SharePoint somewhere?
It is.
Well,
They're
okay.
both.
It's March 13th from Neil's at 9:34 PM. It's the one that has the links in it
Okay.
to get to them.
Oh, links. Okay, I was looking for attachments. Okay.
No, there's 2 links in there.
Alright,
They're too large for our server, so
okay.
okay, and I guess we don't need to make, for next steps, we don't have to make any decisions about postcard mailing and how big or small that group will be, but we'll ponder. We'll ponder, and we can discuss later. Any other next steps? Do we need to review our action items? So all of us are going to review the RFPs. Niels is gonna send out a doodle, whatever, some kind of poll for us to pick some interview times. Hopefully we'll get those set up. Anything else? Fill out our time sheets.
and sheets. I'll do an email with that link, but also do like brainstorm ideas for questions.
Oh, yeah.
So we can get those in advance, so hopefully it'll be a quick discussion next time.
Cause we would, if we're gonna have some of those also as paper at the Earth Day thing, like Rebecca said, with the box, we print it off and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, so yes, those questions
They're different
and
questions.
also questions for the interview.
Oh, interview questions, yeah, I thought we were off the. interview
Yes,
topic.
interview,
Sorry, I
and
got
this, and
confused.
that is double for us actually
Lots of think
practicing
questions,
and getting good at SharePoint.
yes. Right, oh, that's right. Or even just getting on.
We're just getting in.
Yeah.
We can do this. Anything else on next steps? Okay, I think we're ready to adjourn. We need a motion. No, we have a second.
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Allison.
Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody.
I sent this.
Bye, Michael. Thank you.
Email.